Hi guys, how are y'all today? Hope everybody is doing well and having a wonderful day today. Give me a thumbs up, tell me you can hear me. Remember to like and share and follow my page and to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I would really appreciate it. So, hi guys, hi Ann, hi Linda, hi Amanda. Glad you could join me today from Minnesota. Did I say it right? Hi Priscilla. So, not a lot of questions today, guys. Pretty much one. I don't know. Y'all must have been snoozing between last week and this week because only one came through that I saw. So it was on how to shade in PE Design 11 or how to shade in PE Design, period. So good to see you, Shirley. Good to see you, Amanda. And I did say it, Minnesota. It was the accent I was looking for. Given the fact that I am Southern to the core, being able to say that Minnesota is that was the question. So good to see you guys. Glad you could join me today. So we'll start with some shading and go from there in PE Designs. I am in PE Design 11. I did discover a button this week, just so you know. When you're playing in the software, sometimes you discover something that you didn't know was there. So I have kind of figured that little trick out. um, I am not sure what you're asking me. Artwork for CanvasWorkspace, artwork for PE Design. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking me, so give me a little bit more detail on that. All right, guys, let's start in PE Design 11 and we'll start with shading. So I'm going to do something real basic here. Let me say present and share my screen. Let's share screen 2 here. We're going to do something pretty easy and pretty basic. I'm going to go over to my import window over here, and I've got outline shapes selected to keep this kind of at a decent clip. Today, I'm going to go ahead and just resize this by holding down the shift key. That kept it in the center of my page. There's nothing magical about that besides keeping it in the center of the page. It doesn't, it automatically recalculates the stitches for outline shapes because it's as if you drew them yourself. You have total control over them. Now, if I were planning on shading this one, I would probably do something across the top and maybe something around in this corner. There are a couple of ways you can achieve that. I'm going to show you my preferred method first. I come in and I grab my block punch tool and just do a straight block punch. You could do a curved one if you would rather. It's up to you. But since this is really kind of a straight area with the exception of the ends, I usually would do a straight, but I'll go ahead and kind of hit a curve here a little bit. Double click on the end and it's just put me in a block of stitches here. Oops. I'm going to go to my select tool and I'm going to grab it and just kind of manipulate it around just a little bit. But that's not the big thing. When you go into your sewing attributes, once you've got it, and you kind of want it angled the direction that your stitches are going so that they kind of meld in there with it, what you would do is you would come in and choose feathered edge and make sure that under sewing is not on there. So let's look at this. Let me zoom in on it. Let's go to selected object zoom. So you can see that feathered edge gave me that little feathering on there, and you can do feathered on the top and on the bottom. Then you come in and reduce your density because when you're shading, you don't want it very dense. You kind of want it just kind of sitting there on top, but just enough to give it a little bit of color. Not so much that you've got a big blob. Okay. So then you can come in and you can add points. And I'm going to change this to a straight. And if you want it to, you can dip. Let's change this to a straight. I should have gone with a straight block punch instead of the curved. I wouldn't have had to go in here and change things. But you can adjust how these are looking. So you can basically manipulate how deep they go. You can also change the depth of the feathered edge. on both sides. And so that actually will give it a more jagged appearance. Let's zoom out to see the whole kit and caboodle so you can see what I've got. Now that would give you a nice little easy shading, if I can spit it out. There are other feathers that you can choose. So if you don't like the first one that pops up, you can try different feathered edge, and it will give you a different look. I'm going to go back to the select tool so we're not dealing with all the little nodes. You can change the feathering on the bottom to a different style as well. So it gives you a different look on both the top and the bottom. I personally prefer to have them both the same, but that's just me. If I were doing a block in the bottom corner, I would do basically the same type of thing. Click. And I might take this one up a little bit further. And instead of feathering both the top and the bottom this time, I would feather just one side and maybe make it less dense. There is one other thing on that one. It looks a little weird over here in this corner. So see how that looks a little bizarre there? Not sure what's going on. Let's see. But let's come in and adjust a little bit here. It's probably because that angle is going weird. It's giving me undersewing and it shouldn't be giving me any undersewing. Let's take off half stitch. So, I mean, that is the way I work usually, is I'll try it in that method. Now, when you zoom out to the whole thing, that's what you've got. So now you've got a little bit of color in there that you didn't have before. If you don't want to go that route, if you don't like that look, you can always come in here and grab your line drawing tool. Now, when you're doing this, the one thing I want we're going to change it to a running stitch. Oops, wrong button. Running stitch. And I would change the length of stitch to make it longer, because you don't want it to be a real stitch intensive portion of this. You just kind of want it up on top. And then once again, you kind of want to follow the angle of the stitches, but not real thick. So you can come in and basically do your own feathering, which is kind of why I like the other method, is because then I'm not having to try to figure out exactly how I want this to go. But this, I'm simply left clicking where I want it to jag, and double click at the end. And so there you've got your feathering that you have personally created versus what the software did. And if you need to adjust it, you've got your select point tool where you can come in and futz with it, or you can shrink it. So I think I got that. I got a little excited there. So I think I'm going to shrink that down. And then choose the color that you want it to be. So I've got the enhanced brother color palette here. I'll just grab that one. I would also encourage you to basically move that in front of the outline stitch of the other, just so that it hides itself in there well. And once you do that, you're going to notice that, oops, you got a little peek out here. So I would need to come in on this one, add a node, and pull it in. Okay, so that would be my first tip and trick on that one. Those are your two methods of shading. I find that the feathering is your easiest method to figure it out, because you can adjust its shape. You can choose different feathered styles. By the way, feathering is also a great way to make grass. So if you need a grass to go along the bottom of something, that's a great way to do that. If you need a fringe look on something, that's a great way to do that. If you need, let's see here, let's say you wanted to put, I don't have anything I can tell you, but let's say we wanted a collar look. Boy, that was about the worst drawing I think I've ever done. Let me try that again. Give myself a couple of points to go along. Okay, so I actually need to do a block on that. Sorry, guys. My brain is not functioning just yet. Let's try this. Just trying to draw a little curve here. So I can tell you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. So here we go. Not my finest drawing. I'm not working with any artwork, so forgive me on that one. But let's see here, sewing attributes. If we do feathered edge, so right now the top I've got selected, let's choose the bottom. And let's go down here and look at what our choices are. This is one of my favorite ways to kind of do this. And then go back to your defaults and look what you have. You have a little, it's fun to do for a roof line. It's fun to do for a collar. I have a little bit deep of a feather there, so let's change that back to the defaults. So notice how it gives you just a nice little arc there. If you don't like the angles that it's going, you can always adjust your angles. I mean, with the edit point tool, and get yourself a little, I mean, let's say you were doing the bottom of a dress and you wanted to add a little interest to it. That's a great way to do that. Or a cuff or a collar. This is the perfect use of that feathered edge with the little scallops. You also have a bigger scallop. You have, let's see here, these guys right here. Points. And that one's quite fun. So go in there and play and check it out. Let's see here. Is there a way to make that the default under? Nope, there is not a way to make your thread palettes default. It's going to default to whatever thread you brought in the design at. It is also going to default to whatever you started drawing with. So Pacesetter Pro was the last one. Let's see if let's see if this holds true. I'm clicking and opening software back up, and we'll see what happens here. So if I come and I try to draw something, the last palette that I selected is the one that it's going to stay with. So let's say it's Floriani. This is the last palette I selected. Having said that, when I go and import a design, it's going to import it in whatever the color palette was that it was created in. Okay. So it's not going to stay there. If you want to switch your thread palette, there is an easy way. This little button right here is your thread palette exchange. You can convert whatever you have on your screen to the thread palette that you provide and that you choose, and it will automatically adjust those colors to that color palette. So let's say if I go over to my import menu and let's pick a different design, something from the design library. So let's say we bring this design in and we want to switch it from the Brother Enhanced chart to somebody else's chart. Go up to that little color exchange button, choose the thread palette that you want to convert it to, and click OK. Now it will change it to the closest color that it can find that matches it. So if I click on that color right there, it is the Laurel Pink in Floriani. So although I can't set Floriani as the default for when bringing in my designs, I can automatically have it converted to it if that's what I want. The last palette when drawing is the last palette that you had up is what's going to be drawn with. Okay. So if I wanted Floriani to be my thread palette of choice, you do have to select the colors first. So let's come in here and grab our shape tool and pick a color. So I'm going to choose Floriani. Let's go with this for my region, and we'll change my line to purple. So now draw it. When I close the window and I come back in, it should still be on that palette. Yes, I'll show you where that color exchange palette is again. So let me go back to my drawing tool. So you'll notice that Floriani is now on my, that is the one that pops up, but it's not going to be what, if I go to import something and I go to my thread palette, it's going to go with whatever thread palette it sees. Okay. So the thread exchange button is right here. Select color palette. It's the two, there's two thread spools there. Click it and then select which color you want it to go to. Let's see if that's anywhere else so you can see that. Yes, if you go up to your application button, select color palette is there as well. So if you wanted to go to PaceSetter Pro, there's your PaceSetter Pro colors. Always start from the original color. Otherwise, you never know what it's going to convert. Okay. I am not sure what you're asking me. Okay. You're going to have to give me another, you're going to have to expand upon that one. Let's see here. Are you trying to create an embroidery design? I'm really going to have to see that, Amanda. I'm not getting what you want to do and why you want to break it into 4 separate colors versus. I'm not getting what you're wanting. I'm going to have to see it. Yes, it is possible to create and import your own thread palette for sure. So if you go up to the option pull down menu and you choose options, over here, edit user thread chart, choose new chart and name it. We'll call this one Facebook and just FB and click OK. So now you can choose your threads from existing thread things, thread colors out there, or you can choose a new item. So you can come in and mix your own color. If you're not sure exactly what color it is, you can come in here and mix it. If you know the RGB values, you can input those right there. So let's say we know it's 120, 50, and 75. I have no idea what color we're going to get, but that's a wine color. So if we click on it, we say add custom color, click it and name it whatever code it is, click OK, it's there. If you can get a CSV file, you can import the chart from the thread manufacturer. You can directly import that CSV file. It's a comma separated value. Once you're done, you say OK. And then when you go to your thread chart, we should see up at the very top, there's my chart. So if I want to, ooh, hello, I changed everything to that color. That's beautiful. So if I want to change this color right here to my chart, there we go. That's interesting. That's probably not something I would have selected on my own, but there, who knows, all right? But yes, it is very possible to do that. And the BTC is the CSV file is what I would suggest. Basically, it's an Excel sheet, and that's a way that you can do it. So some buttons, I found a button in P-Design 11 that I think you all are going to want to know about. All right. I was playing with decorative fills again, and it's always driven me nuts that it puts an outline around it regardless. Found the button. So now, having said that, there's going to be some issues that you're going to notice if you do this, but just once you kind of get an idea, So I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to touch the background fill button and click on the background where I want to put my fill in and click next. So then I want to go select a decorative fill. Hold on. And let me see here, patterns. So these are the decorative fills. And when you click on one and click OK, it will apply in there in the window. There are a couple of buttons in here that you're going to want to know about. Exclude internal patterns is going to have it go around the exterior edge without an outline. Okay, and I said that before. But what I didn't realize is if I take off all of the buttons, well, let's say we want to exclude the internal pattern. So if I take off all of the buttons and I don't turn on minimize speed and I have exclude internal patterns and I click OK, then that exterior portion that that outline that goes around the outside edge is not there. Let's make our hoop a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm saying. So you'll notice that there is not that outside edge. Now, having said that, you are going to have thread jumps because it can't navigate around that without the thread jumps. Okay. Now, if we want to do that same decorative fill, let's just by itself here on the screen. Let's come up and choose decorative fill again and go into our sewing attributes and select our decorative fill. Which one did I use? This one. That magic button that I was telling you about. So right now it has an outline around it, and it's always had an outline around it. It's driven me nuts, and I haven't been able to figure out why that didn't work. There's this little button here called Minimize Feed. Click that. That removes that check mark. Now, like I said, you're going to have some jump stitches here, but jump stitches and tie-offs, because it has to travel from one area to the other in the most efficient manner. You'll see more jumps. If we watch this play, you'll see where they're jumping. So the first one is not really a jump. It's just where it starts stitching. But it's amazing when you start touching buttons sometimes what you find, and that's what I found. So although this is one continuous pattern with an outline around it, if you take that outline off of it, then it is going to jump when it gets to the edges of the pattern. That's just the way it has to do in order to get all of them done with going around them basically about the same amount. So you down there at the bottom, so you see how it's going back in and filling in the little edges. That's where all of your jumps come from. The majority of it, though, was done correctly. So that is how you got. That's the button that I found this week. Let's see here. You certainly can, and you can also do that on your Brother machine. So if you want to make your own thread palettes on your Brother machines, you can, but it's different. It's done a different manner. The Jenny Haskins thread will be very close to the Floriani because it's made by the same company, and R&K is the distributor of it. So it will be very close in color palette to the Floriani, just so you know. And I'm guessing the numbers will be very similar. Okay, let's see here. I'm looking to see if there's something else that I have forgotten. Evidently not. Okay, so that was my magic button for today that I found, just so you just had to share that one with you. And since there weren't any questions, I kind of came up with a couple of things that you might want to play with since Mother's Day's coming up. I found a few things that you might enjoy playing with. Okay. If you turn off your trim, it's just going to jump. So you're going to have long jump stitches. You need to watch and make sure your foot doesn't get caught on them, but it's going to have long jump stitches. Now, the downside of turning off your trims is that means that tie off may not be as tight, and you really do want your tie offs. So if the jumps are long enough, then you'll probably be able to snip it in half and tie it yourself. But be sure that you use some type of a fray product on the back of it to make sure that your stitches don't pull out. That's one of the things about the tie-offs that are there. When the machine trims, it ties off before it trims, and that keeps your stitches from pulling out, hopefully. When you turn off the trims, then usually those tie-offs don't happen. So keep that in mind and keep that in the back of your head. You may need to put a little dot of fray, whatever type that you use. Go ahead and put your little dot of fray product. Okay. All right. Let's go see here. What else do it? Let me go show you this little guy. So I went looking for Mother's Day stuff. And this one I didn't download, but I think this one's hysterical. If I had children, I think I'd have to wear this one. I think I'd have to make this one. This would be done on my scan and cut. I'd have to do this one just because it's hysterical. Because I would be that mom. I don't know about y'all, but I would be that mom. And so I would download it. And remember, if you don't have a Creative Fabrica account, I will go ahead and put in a code for you for an affiliate link. But this one is quite funny, and you would need to extract it. So I'm going to extract all. And speaking of this, I did something a little incorrect the other day, and I didn't realize I was doing it incorrectly, but I will show you what I'm talking about. So this is a good scan and cut project, easy beginner project. Here you go. Go into your Canvas workspace and hit the SVG button. And then go to your downloads folder, and here is Oh Honey, I Am That Mom, and choose the SVG button. There you go. Now, if you look, let's zoom in. If we look at this, I have some centers that probably need to be knocked out or turned off. So let's see what it is. Let's just turn off our fill. So I'm going to go into my properties up here, and I'm going to turn off the fill. So I clicked the fill color and turned it off, and then I'm going to turn on the line so that we can see. And guys, that is pretty darn good. The only thing I would do is probably take out that little bitty tidbit right there because we don't need it. It looks like those are totally, nothing's going to cut wrong. That is a perfect go-to first time around. Now what you may want to do so that when you get to your scan and cut is to group it. I would group it so that it doesn't fall apart. Or if you want to do it in two different shades, let me undo my grouping and let's go and do let's go into our layers window here. And Oh Honey, and the comma, where's my comma? Right here. I would put that in a different color of line just so that I know personally what I'm doing, and I would group that. And I think I would put my heart in the same color. So here's my heart. I would move it up and change its color as well. Let's put it in a red too. I may have picked a different, oops, I didn't mean to do fill. Not going to hurt anything, just going to let me know what I'm doing. And then I would add it to this grouping. So hold my control key down and grab those two items, right mouse click and choose group. Then I would come in and grab the rest of these pieces together, hold my shift key down and get them all. Right mouse click in here and choose group. So now I've got my two sets of colors, and I can hide one and send the other. So let's say I want group one, which is this, the main group. I would hide it and send I Am That Mom. So the nice thing about working on Canvas Workspace on the desktop versus the web version is this right here. Anything that I hide will not be sent to my scan and cut. Now, if I'm doing this as heat transfer vinyl, let me turn on my eyeballs. I need to select everything and I need to mirror it. So flip it. Now I would come into my layers menu and turn that eyeball off on that oh honey. And then I can simply file, export, transfer FCM file, and let's see if it will let me do it. And it says objects that are hidden will not be exported. I'm okay with that. Click OK. Transfer the file via the internet. Y'all and my McAfee, give it just a minute. It'll decide it wants to go. There we go. And then I can get it. So then after I've gone and cut that one, turn that eyeball off, turn this eyeball on, file, export FCM. And then once again, transfer it via the internet. There is one last thing that I would do. I would have selected this and gone into my properties and gone down here and put on a weeding box so that it would weed my items out for me for each section. Okay. Just keep that in mind. That will help you out considerably. Okay. But that's one thing that I found for you. So I thought that one's a good one. I'll send a link for you on that one. How to use fonts from Creative Fabric. Okay. I have explained that before, but I'll show you again. They are actually better in CanvasWorkspace than they are in P Design because now the weeding box, Linda, may only be on actually I know it is because I have both the roll feeder and I have the vinyl auto blade kit installed. You get it with one of those two items. So, I mean, I know it comes with the vinyl auto blade kit and I'm pretty sure it came with roll feeder as well. So whichever, if you have that one, that's why I have that weeding box in there. Let me see here. The other one that I had for you today that I found that was fun, if I can share. And this one we're going to do as a backdrop in BES4. You can do it in BES4 or BES Blue. You have a backdrop tool. Let's look and see if Simply Applique has the backdrop tool. It does not. I did not think it did, but I mean, one never knows. So I found this little backdrop here. So if you choose backdrop tool, load backdrop, this is another one out of Creative Fabric. There it is. Open it up. So I thought, you could use this as a cut file, but I thought this would actually be kind of fun as an embroidery file as well. So instead of typing in everything at once, I would come in here and I would do vertical text, vertical text, and let's type in M-O mother. And we want it to be, actually, I need to change it from artwork to standard, and then we'll see what we get. I forgot to put, I did vertical text. Why is it not showing up as vertical text, you little ornery thing? Let's try this again. Text, vertical text. There we go. I guess I had to pick it second. So I'm going to come in here and look at this and let's see if we can find something that's similar to that font. If we use our arrow key on our keyboard, it lets us scroll through, and maybe I don't want that exact font, but I want something kind of funky. Sit there and scroll through and see what we have. Elmwood's kind of fun. Let's see what that one looks like. And don't worry about that. We'll either make this smaller or we'll change our font style or we'll change our stitch type. Ooh, that one. Let's see what that one looks like. Kind of like that one. Tell me if you see something you like. And you may want to turn it into applique, or you may want to do artwork. Actually, with this big of a thing, artwork may be the better option, but let's see if we like moire. I kind of do like that one. So let's put this over here. And yes, it's told me I have made something too big, and I'm okay with that. We'll change from a satin to a different pattern fill. Okay. So there's my mother. Now let's do our normal text, and we can do some envelopes with this. So I'm going to come in here and do A and skip the M. Let's do all caps, actually. A-Z-I-N-G. And we're going to make this bigger. And once I've done one of these, you all will get the concept, I do believe. I'm going to smush it down just a hair. And we are going to go into our text tool again and take this little note. See that little dot right there? Let's zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. Let me grab my little text tool here. And you can see what it's talking about, that I've created something that's too big, and that's fine. But that little diamond lets me move things apart. So that is giving me that capability of separating those out to where they're further apart. And once again, let's change the color of this so you can see it. Oh, actually, let's give it yellow. You might be able to see yellow better. There we go. But you can see it's showing you clearly that that is not going to stitch well unless you change to something else. Okay. Oops. But now we got to switch this back out, slip this back out. And so that separated those apart. That looks pretty good. And now let's go into envelope text. Okay. So over here where it says envelope, choose select. And let's see here, what would be the closest thing? Probably, let's see here. Let's play with the pennant. Once again, I got to separate this out, and that's okay. Now, I don't want it this far on this end. So I'm going to come in here and take my little, that have control, because those little pink nodes right there give me the control. And this lets me pull this out. And this little dot right here in the circle lets me raise it up. And then I can come pull this one down. And if you want to stretch it, you can stretch it out. Reminder though, you may have to change this amount of stretch between here when you do that. When you've got the hand, you can futz with the whole kit and caboodle. But that's not bad. I mean, that's close. I can't add anything there, so let's see if I can add. Let's see if we like a different one. No, they're all pretty standard. They have pretty much the same number of nodes to futz with. So that's what you've got. And you would do that for each of the different fonts. And then I'm sure if you go in here and add design and you go into accents, I'm pretty sure you can find a heart, you can find a flower, you can find all kinds of things and go in there and play with them. But that's the concept. So that gives you something to play with. Now, if you like that and you don't want to do it in embroidery, oops, wrong button. And you would rather do it as a cut file. Let's do file new. That one also, besides an artwork file, it came in as, what am I trying to say? You also get an SVG one on that one. Let's see here. Is this it? Yep, there you go. So you could come in here and say, all right, I want all of those to be a different color. So I want those to be blue. And then you'll notice that they are color coded together here. They are grouped. It held the grouping. So you could come in and just change these out. Ooh, let's make that more of an orange. But this would give you that capability of sending what you want over. And I think this would be this would be a nice soft, if you do it in heat transfer vinyl, it would be a really nice soft concept. All right, found one more for you. And if I go into my SVG button one more time, let's go here to my downloads. Let's just go up a level. There we go. All right, so this one we have to do just a little bit of work on, okay? So if I've got this guy right here and I turn off his fill so I can see where it's going to cut, I need to turn on the lines so I can see it. There we go. Now you'll notice that these bottom parts are perfect. You're not going to have to worry about them. But look here. If I cut this in the center like it is right now, that O is going to cut into the N, and the M is going to cut into the O, and the O is going to cut into the M on the end. So you need to select that section right there. Go to your edit menu over here. And if you have a hard time drawing, so here's how I grabbed it. I just drew right across the center of that, and it grabbed all three parts of that. This is one of those that you want to weld right here, weld. And then you've got it. Your design is complete. So if you don't want it that big, select it all and shrink it into whatever size you want it to be. I thought that one was quite nice as well. Something a little different that you don't see just everywhere. So that's one of those things that I thought you all might enjoy. I'll post the links to the specific SVG files later. Actually, after we finish this stream. Let's see here if I can send you my Creative Fabrica though. Where is that? Well, I'll be darned. Where's my banner? Oh, I just didn't go down far enough. There we go. Okay, so there is my affiliate link for Creative Fabrica. I will put you one in for those specific items that I just showed you, just in case you want. A reminder today, we have a summer fun virtual event coming up. Angela's hosting it. And it's coming up on April the 28th. Everybody has a project that they're doing. I actually am doing two. You get a twofer on mine. We each are taking about an hour to present, and it's an all day long event. So it will start, I think, at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I think that is on Eastern time. I could be wrong. Let's go look and see. Let's go look and see. I have cap locks on. Y'all just learned something about me. I type and use my mouth to be able to show. That's why. Who knew? Though, you know, that artwork that I just showed could also be brought in to P Design as a vector image. So let's go back up here. There's your mom SVG. You could turn it into an embroidery file. Let's give it a second to work. There it goes. Oh, that one turned out really quite nice. That's a quick and easy one. Very quick and easy. All right, let's go over here and see. Wrong button. Reload. All right, y'all know that my computer loves me. Go check it out. Maybe if I edit this and copy, it will let me go there. There we go. Okay. Copy and paste works wonders. So Raina's doing an in the hoop bag. Karina's going to be making a card holder. We're going to be making wine coasters, 2 different styles. And if you can even do them in a 4x4. And Rhonda is going to do embroidery with inks. And Joanne's doing a spa set, and Angela's draping a wrap skirt. So that's what we have going on for that day. At least I finally found it, you know. Hey, sometimes I can't find it. Anyhow, yeah, that mom one worked great in a heartbeat, in a flash. Through P Design 11. You could do it as an applique or a running stitch, or yeah, an applique or a running stitch, probably best in BES, in either of the BESs, and possibly simply applique. Okay, guys? All right. If there are no other questions for me today, I guess I am going to say goodbye for now. Next week, I have a announcement that I'm going to share. No, maybe the next week. Next week, though, Heather and I do believe, are going to go live in the Education Connection with the Scan and Cut, and any machine that has my design center on it, not using my connection, just so you know. You will not get kits. I'm sure that there will be links to things, but there are not kits. We're not mailing out kits. Mine, you're going to make from scraps that you have in your stash. Rhonda's, it's just a blank. I mean, you can find a blank bag anywhere, and you can also make yourself a canvas tote pretty easily. Rains are going to be out of your fabrics, out of your stash, besides zippers. But it's not a sew along. It is we will present it to you, and you'll have instructions after the fact. You'll have the files that we used, and then you can go back and watch the video as many times as you want. So watch live so that you can ask questions if there's something that comes to you that you need to ask, but you can always go back and watch the videos multiple times. Coupon codes this week. Let's see here. As usual, these are the codes, and they are not active right now, I don't think, because I think they expired. And so Lettering So Easy, your BES4, BES Blue workbook, and then Digitizing So Easy for version 10 is DIG10. All right, guys, if there aren't any other questions, I am going to say goodbye for now. Be sure to use your coupon code if you sign up for the class. It should be lots of fun, guys. Coupon code Cindy, all caps, VIP, all run together. Okay. So let me put that back up in case I forgot, in case you didn't catch me saying that one. So Cindy, VIP. Okay. All right, guys, you all have a great rest of the day. I'll put in the links for the files that I pulled up from Creative Fabrica for you to look at if you're interested in them. And y'all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week. You order the books from my website, cynthiasembroidery.com. So cynthiasembroidery.com is where the easiest way to find me for everything. Here you go. It's in the comments. Maybe. There it goes. All right, guys, please be sure to send in questions for next week. It really does help me plan for what we're going to do instead of me having to fly by the seat of my pants. I always appreciate it. Y'all have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully your weather in the north will get better because it's lovely down here right now. We'll talk to you later. Bye bye. Hi, Kelly. So glad you could make it in time.